Say hi.
Bye.
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 Good afternoon and evening, everyone, from
Bye.
the Athletics LLC world.
Oh, baby boy, go ahead.
I don't really know much what to say other than on behalf of the entire crew, I am
Bye.
The baby must be acknowledged. He must.
bye.
Bye. There you go.
I just want to say on behalf of the entire crew, we are honored that you wonderful people still tune in. This is season 5, episode 1. How about them apples?
Unbelievable. Congratulations. A lesson in perseverance. Congratulations to you, the EP, Huffy. I mean, I think this is an example of what happens when 5 people get together doing something and talking about subject matters that they truly love and appreciate and respect. And I mean, I'm not bored yet. I don't know about you, but I'm still excited about it. So thank you. Thank you for
track
having
is
me.
track is the gift that always keeps giving. So
Sure does.
well, I guess
I
we'll
will
start
say,
with you.
I will
Clyde,
say,
how are we doing tonight, Clyde?
I'm playing injured tonight, but I will say,
Is this a Jordan flu game we got going?
no, because that was a fake flu. But anyway, when we first decided to do this, oh so long ago, I said, I think on one of the shows, we're gonna do this for as long as it makes sense and as long as people still want it. I never thought it would actually last as long as it has. So
I mean, right?
You know, that's a credit to all the contributors in front of the camera and behind the camera that put time into this, and everybody's diligence of being consistent and being here every time is dope. So never thought we'd make it this far, but I'm still very happy to be here and watch the evolution of this knucklehead through the show as well.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Every week I find out somebody else that I know watches the show. I had an athlete stop me at Mount Sac and tell me that they love the show, and because they're going to go into coaching, they tune in every week because they're pretty sure they're learning something every week.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's like they pop out of the woodwork at every track meet, cities that we travel to, stuff like that. It's kind of a wink, wink, nod, nod, and just an acknowledgement that, we are doing something good for the track community. Yeah, I mean, it feels good. It feels good to be a part of it.
It's been fun, and I think it will continue to be fun. It'll get very interesting this summer, but it's always interesting this summer, and we somehow managed to make it happen. So without further ado, I guess we'll just start with the easiest low-hanging fruit topic of track is absolutely and positively back. I'll throw
Where
this
do
out
you
there.
start?
I'll throw this out there. Is throwing the discus out in the middle of a field in Oklahoma with like gale force sideways winds, is that like having a rabbit?
Yeah, considering we have talked about the subject of rabbiting in track and field.
I feel like this is the first field
you
event
have your
rabbit.
thoughts, Huffy.
Right. No, that's the most hilarious part, that he would even deign to ask that question.
Absolutely.
For the audience, let's be very, very clear. The EP is trying to live in my world right now of petty. The EP actually thinks that rabbiting distance races is his quote cheating.
Cheating.
And I know
100%.
that he is not going to sit here and claim that doing a throwing carnival at a place advantageous to throwing is, I know he's not going to claim that.
Oh no,
So-
for sure. I'm right. I'm on that bandwagon too. But
Yeah, the mere fact that you would compare the two.
yeah,
Right.
I'm on the bandwagon. I'm on
And
that
we have
bandwagon as well.
receipts.
Listen,
Nonsense.
We have receipts.
I'm not saying that the world record in the discus shouldn't count. Of course it should count because the world record that he broke was set in the same circumstances.
There you go. There you
There
go.
it is.
There you go.
Right.
And
So, like,
so-
I
and
get
so-
what it is, but if you're
and so,
asking me,
yes.
do I think it falls in that same, box with like spitballs and all these unwritten rules and things that we get away with in sports? Absolutely. Because a track meet, listen,
I compare it to surfing, right?
Yeah.
You want to go surf the biggest wave? You got to go find the biggest wave.
Wait a
I
minute.
mean,
No,
listen,
no. Yeah, I'm not about to let y'all do this. By this logic, if you deconstruct this logic,
Uh-huh.
then we should just go to track meets and run the 100 meters in whatever direction the track says, and not concern ourselves with headwinds and tailwinds.
Well,
no,
there you go.
no, because no, because we have legislation about governance of the wind,
Right?
right? There's no
Right.
such thing as a wind-dated discus or wind-dated pole vault.
Yes. It doesn't
Okay.
apply. It doesn't apply to the implements.
Absolutely. Right? We can't throw light weights. That's not what, all I'm saying is this. I feel like a track and field world record should have to be set at a track and field meet. And they should have to have, at the very
my
least,
goodness.
a
Okay.
track of some
Okay.
sort.
Okay.
Right? My issue is, listen, I think that Alekna is going to break the world record no matter where it is, if you want my honest opinion. I love the
Okay.
kid, and he's a go Bears, right? But when you throw a discus ring out in the middle of nowhere and there's literally no wind baffles of any kind, and he says he missed the first throw altogether and it was 71 meters. What?
Hey man,
Well, if you
all I
watch
know,
if you watch the video, it looks like he missed on the world record video. It didn't look like he hit that one.
He wasn't jumping up and down in the ring because he knew it was a bomb.
no, that's not true. He let it go and he put his hand up in the air.
Oh, for sure he did.
Yes.
He knew it was far
He knew.
because
So
it was flying for about 8 seconds.
let's be clear. I don't know what they on right now, but
Listen,
Nicholas
I'm
Alekna-
having fun with the people. It's year
Nicholas
5.
Alekna, Mo Satara, take a bow, gentlemen.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
Amen.
And listen,
And that's an old,
it's the old
probably drugged record.
right.
Yes,
And that's my point.
absolutely.
And that's my point. I don't want to hear even the notion that the venue, we have the College World Series out in the middle of nowhere too. The throwing venue is out in the middle of nowhere. That boy is a collegiate.
That's the crazy part.
He
He's
is
a collegiate.
clean.
Yes.
He is young. He is clean. And they rock that thing. And I love
Yeah.
it. Take
Listen,
all the
this,
dirty
this
records
is
off.
my real feeling about the whole thing. But I do have to, if I'm going to give the distance runners crap about these rabbits, right, I'm at least going to also throw shade at my field event brethren as well. Because listen, I've said this for a long time. It's wild that you can have wind limitations on a long jump, but not on the pole vault.
Well,
Absolutely wild.
it's also wild. And I mean, another case example. So we go to A&M last weekend and it is pouring down rain. I mean, it is awful. Like bad conditions. The whole state of Texas was under thunderstorm warnings, all of that. But they pole vaulted inside.
Always happens.
Now,
Blows my mind.
now that's different.
Now explain.
No, here's
Okay.
why that's different. Because it's outdoor season. So if you want to get some reps off, great, go get your reps off. But if marks from that event end up
Right.
on papers, that's bullshit.
Well,
And it happens all the
there you
time.
have it. I mean, I was at Mizzou the year it was terrible weather. What happens when you try and host conference in May in Missouri? Well, you're in
should be
Tornado
banned.
Alley, right? So that first day, they did the pole vault inside.
And
So-
again, for the championship,
Uh-huh.
great, score the points.
Yep.
But them marks can't go on T-Fers.
And they
Exactly.
absolutely do.
I know they do. That's nonsense.
It is absolute nonsense. Listen, I've been at a conference meet where we moved the pole vault inside because of the wind. There was
Yes.
not a drop of rain outside.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, I get it. Speaking of pole vault, since we're still on track is back. I want everybody. I said this one time on the show, and y'all sort of questioned me. I questioned myself. I didn't say it with my chest. Mondo Duplantis may be better at pole vaulting than anybody's ever been at anything.
I mean,
Like, I need people to understand this. He has the age world record in the pole vault from every age that they keep it, from age 6 all the way up to and including the world record. And I just watched him do something I don't even think that I saw the great Sergey Bubka do, and that is open his season with a clean, untouched world record.
Absolutely.
Like, he didn't touch it, he didn't hit it.
He was way over that.
Yes.
He smoked that.
Yes. It was pretty awe-inspiring to watch. And what it tells you, and I'm sure Huffy, you can confirm this. What it tells you that he is most likely hitting much higher heights in practice.
I would bet all the money I've ever seen he has already jumped 630.
Oh my goodness. That's insane.
But see, look, why is this way, right? Because the world record bonuses, you only get one per day.
Mm-hmm.
So we need like 8 more meets for him to get to 630. I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's like, look, not only was it the first meet of the season, it was in the longest travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It wasn't even the second meet in China. It was the first one.
Yes. Funny enough, there is, I don't know if it was a clip or a short movie or something about Bubka and his little incremental breaking of records and the deal that he had to break each record, and him getting invited to Sestriere, where he broke it and got the Testarossa, the Ferrari as a prize. And if I'm not mistaken, he was quoted at $100K per record.
I believe it honestly is still that.
Unbelievable. So yeah. Kudos to Mondo Duplantis. I mean, if this is how he's going to start off his year, I mean, what are we going to see in Paris? I mean, are they going to move the pole vault to the end of the program? I mean,
you're going to see 1 centimeter higher.
Show
stop.
No, because he got European championships to break it too.
That's
so
right.
He's got a couple more times that he'll break it.
That's right.
But the crazy part, right, is he is so revolutionary that he is causing equipment companies to build new things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I need people to understand that you have to build new standards to have him at the meet.
Yeah.
Because if the standards don't go to 630, he can't be there.
Yep. So here's a question. More impressive, Bednarek going and running 991 and winning in Kenya, or Coleman winning in China?
I'll go first, and I'll say much more impressed with Coleman.
Okay.
A couple reasons. One, literally everyone, and I mean everyone, runs fast in Nairobi.
Right. It's altitude.
It's at 7,000 feet, right?
Yeah.
It's like 6,800 or something like that. But two, it wasn't, listen, I know the time was slow. The time's always going to be slow first race over in China, which is still why I say it's so crazy that Mondo broke the world record. But it was the way, it was the race pattern that Christian Coleman ran that I got the same vibes as I did when Noah started running indoors differently.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's not so much what it means from this race. It's what, if we're going to see that Christian Coleman, it's what that means this summer.
Right. Right.
What say you, Clyde? Which are you more impressed with?
Can I say I wasn't overly impressed
Nope, you can't. No, Mr. Petty.
I just wasn't. And I'm listen.
We get that, but he asked which one were you more impressed with?
Yes, but that question poses that I was impressed at all, and I wasn't.
No, that's not what the question is. No, 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 no.
It's-
You're comparing one against the other.
Exactly.
Right. I'm comparing two B- performances. Like
Okay.
I can't call either one B-.
no, because here's the thing. Kenny's amazing, and it was a really nice race. But to your point, it's Kenya up on the mountaintop, you know, winds and altitude and all that. Like nothing that goes on in that place at a significantly higher level. Nothing that goes on in that place you really should pay much attention to. The same way that things that go on in Claremont you shouldn't really pay much attention to, right? Like it's just one of those situations. So if you want me to say that I was impressed with the technical difference that Christian displayed in the second half of his 100, yes.
And that's basically what I said.
Right. But here's the thing. Like the chatter about that was, oh my God, he ran down Fred Curley. Oh my God, Fred got out on him and he found a way to win the race. They both ran 10-1. Like it wasn't fast at all. So I don't care about his ability to overtake Fred Curley in a slow race for professional people who run 9.7s at their best. Like the race itself was lame. If Christian can look like that technically when he's en route to running 6.3 or something for the first 60, well, then maybe we'll be impressed with it. But if you know what I mean? Like it was just like, like that whole race, the whole build up to that race was meh. And then the race was meh.
I think the biggest takeaway people need to understand is like what effect time changes really have.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
That because so many people listen, we know how the internet is. Like they think all time should be compared evenly, right? When you run 970 something like Trayvon did in Nairobi, right? That's not the same as 976 at the world championship in the final at sea level.
Nope.
But people act like they are, right?
Yeah.
They just look at the clock and say that race in China was slow. Like, okay, if you're supposed to be there 1 day per hour of time change, I write that down, people.
That's correct. That is correct.
When you get to be an adult and take people overseas, you need to be there 1 day for every hour of time change, right? Okay.
For things to settle.
Nobody was over there 13 days, 14 days before.
Right.
So
and anybody
we'll just leave it there.
Anybody that has felt that and understands what kind of jet lag you're dealing with, and it's one of those things where up until you do adjust, it is hell.
Oh yeah.
It's Twilight Zone.
You're taking your naps when you can. Like, yes, follow the sun, they say, right? Stay up when the sun's up, all right. Okay.
People don't realize how hard that is.
It's literally the Twilight Zone. It's
absolutely. So here's my take. Bednarek beat Omanyala. Omanyala had not lost in Kenya.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Went into the man's house and beat him. Okay.
Yeah.
Kudos. I mean, I love it.
Honestly, I forgot that point, so I'm more impressed with Kenny.
Okay, but Christian beat a much better field. Like that was the point, right? The scalps taken.
Did he though?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Stop.
Yes.
Whether you like Oblique Seville or not, he's really good.
Yes.
Wait, I'm a big fan of Oblique Seville.
Oh, so I'm just saying, right? Like Christian beat more. He beat more world ranked.
Yes, he did.
People.
Yes,
but I get it. Look, 10-1 is 10-1, and I'm never going to go crazy. I'm not going to extrapolate it down to, some other time. But again, for me, it was the technical model. And lastly, for me, from the track is back, and I'm certainly open to whatever else you guys want to talk about. That was my thing about Rise Race.
Woo!
Right? Like,
man, I was definitely more impressed with that.
I'm not a nerd, so I'm not that level of nerd, so I didn't throw the race on Dartfish and time the first two and the last two. I just know it looked like ocularly, it looked like 22 and 22.
Listen, Rye looked so good in that race.
You were there. You were there, right, Clyde?
I was not in person. No, we
Okay,
didn't go.
okay.
We didn't go to Mount.
And I left. I was there the day before.
Okay.
But Rye looked so good and so comfortable in that race. There was a discussion post race from credible people of whether or not he's just run the open 4 straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's as much a diss to the state of affairs in American quarter miling as it is anything else, right?
Yep.
Of course it is.
Yep.
Of course it is. But like, listen, you would be hard pressed to convince me that Rye Benjamin isn't our best straight up 400-meter runner. I mean, there's people you can make cases for, I guess, but if you ask me to put money on it, I'm taking Rye.
I mean, the unfortunate part about this whole weekend, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the most intriguing thing that came from this weekend was the no-show of Michael Norman in that race.
Ooh.
That, I'll say this, like sometimes things mean nothing and sometimes things mean everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you train in Los Angeles and there is a silver level meet in your hometown that you run at every year since high school,
every year,
if you don't show up and your training partner does, that says things. I'm not sure what it says though, but it definitely says something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything positive that it says.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, we've all been outspoken fans of Michael Norman, and we all want Michael Norman to return to who Michael Norman can and should be in this game, right? But his absence at that meet was noticeable, and I just hope he's good. I have no information to suggest he's not, so let's not get caught up with that. But I just hope he's good. Like, even if you're out there running an alternative event, like it's Mount Sac weekend. Like,
It is.
Right. I mean, everybody else that trains in LA ran.
Right.
I mean, listen,
Wow.
we got a treat. We got to see Sid light up a second leg on a 4x1.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we
That
did.
I
happened.
mean, the cameraman missed it for the most part, but if you're paying attention at the end, you see Sid come, and you're like, well, she was 3 lanes inside of them, which means she killed everybody out there.
That's right. That's right.
So just to wrap up, I mean, and you can stop me. Segei goes and runs the 3rd fastest 1500 in history. That's just
By self.
by herself. Tobogo Lindsay decide to just, go and put a 1971 on the books. Tania Marshall, 1242, to open up her campaign. Katzberg, 84:38. The longest throw in how long? It's been decades?
In the hammer, it's more than a decade. I think we're talking about like Morifushi and that squad.
Yeah, I think they said it was 19 years, something like that. Allman, 69.80 in the disc. DMR world record, for what it's worth, or world best.
Oddity.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Harrison, 234, looking really, really good. Some pretty good stuff.
So,
but the most under the table thing that happened was what?
I don't get how nobody is talking about JCQ running 12:45 in China.
Okay.
Like, everybody's talking about Tania Marshall's 12:42, and I'm like, 12:45 in China. We just talked about
Exactly.
jet lag, right? And her and Devin look like that's what the final's going to look like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so to that point, I was much more entertained, intrigued, and satisfied watching the women's hurdle race from China than the rest of them. And, Devin has been on fire. She broke the world record. She just opened her outdoor season at a place that she has closed it before.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all things look really good, but there are very few. I'll give this analogy because I said this to one of my kids, actually. Dawn Harper if she was famous for anything else, she was famous for her finishing ability in this race. You can't let Dawn hang around through her 7, or it's going to turn into a problem, right? JCQ is one of the few current elite women hurdlers that has that kind of finishing ability.
Yeah.
And the question will be, much like Grant Holloway has become in this space, how far away can Devin get, and can she hold it off? Because JCQ is not going to beat anybody from 0 to 6. Like that's not her bag. But if that kind of result keeps happening, you ultimately get over the shock of how far away the true starters like Devin can get away from you, right? And I think that's going to be one of the more intriguing results as the season goes on in the women's hurdles, which is probably the hardest event on the planet. You know, the starters versus the finishers, but there's very few finishers, and JCQ happens to be one of them, and she might be the best one. So it was a hell of a race, and I know, unlike the other events, the women do not duck each other in the hurdles.
That's
so
right.
we're gonna get to see that a few times.
Yeah.
But
So-
I'm going to answer your question, KST, before we move on. The most under the radar thing that happened this weekend was actually what I went out to Mount Sac for. Aiden Owens finished last season with a no height in the pole vault and some level of injury. He left his camp, moved to Puerto Rico under new coaching and all those wonderful things. And we all know when you make changes, sometimes you go backwards before you go forwards. And he put up a 230 or so point PB. It's the number 2 mark ever done in the Caribbean at 87.32. And beneath that, we had another American, Heath, I was about to call him Heath Ledger, Heath Baldwin, collegian, with 84.71, passing Trey and Ashton on the collegiate all-time list. And the ever resurgent, and as he tells me to tell the world he's nowhere near done, Devin Williams, who hadn't PB'd in 7 years, came within 3 points of his PB. So the decathlon at Mount Sac was outrageous, but you had to be there on Wednesday and Thursday.
Y'all
for
weird
me-
folks do like competing in the empty stadiums, I'll tell you.
Hey, listen, that's the only way. That's the only way they let us use nice things, right? But they wouldn't even let us throw the discus inside the stadium because they had all the javelin marks going, so we had to throw the discus on the practice track.
That is funny.
So that's how it goes. All right, what's next on the docket?
Well, are we going to talk about these new leagues that are sprouting up and these new?
Yeah, let's. Everybody seems to be. You know, it's funny. You know how you know you're broke when people keep talking about the 13 cents that you just collected.
I see you stealing my petty thunder already.
Listen, it is both. It is both heroically good and astonishingly bad that the tagline for both of these two leagues is Michael Johnson is successful in garnering $30 million of support, because that is an absolute shot at USA Track and Field. And Gabby's meet is going to be a women's only meet and pay no less than double in any event that you get for going to a Diamond League meet.
Exactly.
Okay, now
60K for the winner.
See,
Now-
right, that's more than you get for the Olympics.
Now, wait a minute. Wait. I love you both, but I'm not gonna let y'all do this. There is a distinct difference between the one-off women's only competition
Okay.
For sure.
she has tied herself to,
Yes.
and the league
The league.
that
Look, let's put
Michael
everybody do this
Johnson-
together. The league.
Michael Johnson is announcing. when I read the press release, if you will, about Gabby's situation, I said, you know what? That's pretty dope. I like it. Props to Gabby and whoever else are a part of that. I like that. When I saw the announcement of the Michael Johnson thing, I literally went like this. Dramatic reenactment. I went, I have questions.
Mm-hmm.
I got like 100 questions, but I'll just throw a few of them. The math doesn't really math for me.
The
because
math ain't mathing.
it's a league.
Right.
I don't care what sport you like. You can't run a league on $30 million.
You can when you're gonna run like
4
3
meets.
track meets and have like 5 events.
Yes.
Nope.
Yep.
I need to understand what I need the details. I'm not going to be the one to be like, rah, 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 go MJ, until I see the details, and the devil is usually in the details.
You know what this is, right? This is the track and field version of the big 3.
That may be an apt analogy because
And that's what this is. We're gonna get 3-on-3 half court basketball.
well, then in that case, I'm not here for that.
That's what we're gonna get, because I've read enough of the backstory stuff that most of this is going to be built on rivalries and races.
Yes.
It's going to be like playing knockout, right?
Yes.
And I'm just like, that all sounds well and good until either A, people you need to show up don't show up, or B, people who you need to carry the meet pull up because they run in too many races.
All part of the questions that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Just from the fan's perspective, I am a fan. People forget, because one of my major questions is, well, what events are we doing? Because
that's the first question I asked.
Last I checked, there are 21 events in our sport, if you include the relays. I don't include the mixed relay. There's 21 events in outdoor track. So that's 42 when you put the genders together.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say there's 8 lanes on the track, 42 events. That's roughly, 336 odd people. So if you take the 30 million and you divide it up amongst that, that's a little under 90K per human for one competition.
That's not gonna happen.
That's not going to happen.
I would say
so I need to understand how this is going to go.
Yeah, I would expect no more than 10 events.
Oh, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. You can stop right there, because here's the first thing. This is what is going to make you and others like you and me leave the room immediately. There will be no field events.
There you go.
So we can start there. It is a track league. It is not a track and field league. There will be no field events.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Michael has said on BBC broadcasts, like, people don't really show up for the field events. He has said that.
Yes.
That is something that he would say.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, we can start right there. There will be no field events. So the best guy in the sport of track and field, Mondo Duplantis, will not be there.
Right.
Well,
so if you, reading into it, the league will include a series of events during the normal track season, which is April to September, limiting the number of events and athletes. It aims to elevate the sport's stars and rivalries between them while catering to fan interests.
Right. So who is deciding the fan interest is another question. Is Michael Johnson going to tell us as fans what we're interested in?
Right.
Since he's man? It sounds like Mike got a chunk of money to screw around and give the middle finger to the Diamond League and try to entice some stars to not be involved in the Diamond League, because the calendar timeline is the Diamond League calendar time.
It's like Live Golf.
Yes.
Right. The only difference is Live Golf ain't operating at $30 million. I need another O on the end of that. Right?
For sure. For sure.
So, I'm here for the Live Golf. Live crew. If y'all want to come in and do something, I'd sign up for that. Right? But this feels like a very, it feels very petty. And usually I'm a fan of most things petty. but it just, I need more information. I need more information before I have a true opinion of this, but it sounds strange.
As long as I get to see the British milers slap Ingebrigtsen around enough times, I'm here for that. I'm here for that.
Sure, but to your point, this is a very good example, right?
We know we're going to see that. For sure, that's going to be one of the events.
Sure, but does everybody that needs to sign up for that to matter show up?
And that's the point, right?
Because the minute Jakob is like, yeah, nah, I'm good, then who cares?
Well, I've said this before, and I've been challenged to, money where your mouth is kind of deal. When I'm done with my treatise, I will bring it to this group and on this forum, and I will actually design out what the World Athletics Track and Field League should look like.
Like, are there teams? How are we just who's on the team?
Like I said, all
Who's
you get is
coaching the
that.
team?
I will bring you pieces as.
Oh no, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about my questions for the $30 million.
Oh yeah, no question. I want to know if
Is there a draft?
Is there a draft? Are there
who's in charge of the teams? Is KST gonna run the Austin team or something? Like, what? I don't understand.
Right? Can I be a general manager?
Is it gonna be on television?
I mean, right? These are real questions.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: look, if you're trying to start a track and field league, right? The Big Three is actually a really good model. They took a whole and broke it into a saleable piece, right?
Yeah.
And it's sold in small doses. At they moved the goalposts as to what success looks like.
But they also did it with popular has-beens.
100%.
You feel me? So
yeah, they're living off of the shadow of the NBA. 100%.
Sure. So in this example, I mean, let's take on the since there will be no field events as predicted by Huffy today. Since there will be no field events, let's take our two biggest sprint stars at the moment, Noah Lyles and Sha'Carri Richardson, world champions, right? Are you paying their entry fee to show up?
I mean,
because if you not, are they gonna show up? Is the purse big enough? Because that 30 mil gonna burn real fast if we start doing that. If you're advertising, this is going to build rivalries. Okay, well, on paper or in theory, Sha'Carri's rivalries are the three Jamaican stars.
And you should pay all of them.
Well, you're going to pay all of them, or they're not showing up.
Right.
So
Right.
what? Like, I just, I don't understand what this looks like, because the announcement was 30 million, and we hired all these professional people that work in other areas to do it. Well, are they getting paid out of the 30 million? Because they sound expensive. And so where's the money going? And like, I just need more details. They said more details to come. We will do this again when we got details.
So, on to the 776 Invitational, which is being spearheaded between a partnership of Alexis Ohanian, Serena's husband, and Gabby Thomas. First of all, it's being held at the end of September, so basically after the season, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's probably right after the Diamond League final, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Women's only meet,
Yep.
and it's already touting payouts of 60 grand for first, 25 for second, 10,000 for third, and they are going after the Diamond League pay.
100%.
They're comparing it like it's like in bold.
Right, because the aim of this is to take the female stars and get them out of the Diamond League final to come get double this check.
Exactly.
I love that. And again, it's a one-off meet.
One-off thing. Right.
So that is spectacular. That's awesome.
Yes.
Be petty. It makes sense. I understand exactly how it's supposed to work. And it probably will work, because why would I go to the Diamond League final and race for a fraction of the money, since it's all going to be the same anyway? It's not going to change my rankings.
Right.
Like the women that will by points be in the Diamond League final don't need the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Feel me? So I'm gonna run somewhere. I think I'll just take the bigger check. Makes sense to me.
So, you know, and this is the part where, you know, and I've had multiple conversations to young athletes about thinking outside the box, you know, how you have to go, I mean, think in terms of if there's a shoe sponsor, if there is a clothing maker, or it doesn't have to be the Nike or the Mizuno or the Asics or whatever. As long as they're willing to support you. I mean, what's the aim of it? Is the aim to make money? Is the aim to get a fruitful partnership where someone respects you and says, okay, I'm going to, you know, invest in you for 4 years while you prepare for 2028, all of that. And we're seeing examples of it, right? Now, as part of that, apparently, and I have to in the press conference, Alexis asked if the track could be more like an F1 track. And Gabby Thomas was like, absolutely not. So already, you know, there's a little bit of, well, okay, what is this thing? What is this thing called professional track? But
It'll be
again,
short track.
you you think outside the box, and I mean, kudos to Gabby for going out and getting this started. I mean, this is what we need. This is what we need. We need because collectively, whether it's MJ, whether it's Gabby, or what, at some point, somebody has to get World Athletics to understand that things need to change.
Right.
Things need to change quickly.
And anything that shoots at the professionalism model that World Athletics currently operates under, I'm here for. But
well, I'm really here for anything that shoots at the pennies that they offer up.
And that's exactly my point. To that point, we're talking about pennies. MJ announces a $30 million league, and Clark signs a $28 million Nike deal. One of these things is not like the other people. So forgive me for not being, oh my God, excited about a league operating on $30 million. That's not a thing. It damn sure ain't a league.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just not.
So immediate eligibility in the NCAA. The NCAA has now passed legislation and put it into effect that the idea, so prior to this new ruling, you could transfer once, you could get into the portal. As long as you're academically eligible, you could transfer immediately and be eligible. However, the second time you tried to transfer, then you'd have to sit a year. There's been a ton of litigation in the courts fighting this, and it seems like the NCAA has now backed off, and we're moving into more deregulation in the NCAA, and this is another example of it. So how does this affect track and field? Or do we want to talk about the general sphere, the general, well, how this affects the NCAA, sports in general?
I'll take a general approach.
Okay.
Y'all tell me the track and field part. Of course, this has happened because you can't win on these silly decisions that the NCAA wants to have in court. It's America. If I want to transfer and I want to go to a different school and the other school wants me, of course I could be eligible. That's just common sense. Now, me as a coach, in this industry, this may make my life more difficult, right? That might actually happen, but I will always hunker back to this, and it makes people mad. If I have freedom of movement when I say because I feel like it, then the athletes should have it as well. Now, here's the fun part. If the NCAA wants to deregulate the transfer issue, that's fine. But an hour after that announcement came out, then the APR should have been disbanded as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because somehow I'm still punished
Yep.
academic progress
Yep.
when these people decide to move and shake and do what they do. You cannot run the old academic rules
Nope.
in this new system of movement and wild west on transfers.
Yep.
So I'm here for the transfers. I'm good with that, but you need to fix the other part because it's impossible. It's
Oh yeah, that definitely smells like Reggie Bush getting his Heisman back, right? Like somebody's going to get in trouble for APR in the next year or two,
Mm-hmm.
and then 3 years later be like, yeah, no, that shouldn't have happened. because listen, here's my thing. Because of the places that I've worked and the number of places I've worked, I do understand this much, and I also used to live in Indianapolis, and I know quite a few people in the NCAA. When rules come out, the first thing you should think of is what nefarious thing was done to why we had the rule,
Yep.
and what nefarious thing is going to be done to exploit the new rule, right? Because that's really what happens.
Right.
So my first thought was immediate eligibility is absolutely awesome for every athlete and absolutely awful for every coach, because we'll just do simple things. You can now go to insert school X for the first semester out of high school. Don't like it, coach. You didn't like the fall.
Yeah,
Coach
KST's
have a
fall
fallout
program
going into
sucks.
Christmas.
I want out.
I'm out.
Yep.
Right. And now you can transfer to another look. You could go to a December meet. Just I'm gonna be real specific and nefarious.
All
You
right.
can go to a December meet. You perform well, and a kid at another school gets hurt. You now know there's a spot at that school that is open.
Yeah.
You can leave at Christmas break and show up at the new school with the new uniform, rocking your new NIL deal.
Yeah.
Like that's 100% what's gonna happen. And is it gonna happen like that in track immediately? No. Is it gonna happen like that in track in a grandiose fashion? No.
Right.
But let me tell you, it's gonna happen in basketball.
Oh yeah.
Because see, people forget basketball in particular is the issue because it covers a large part of 2 different semesters.
That's right. That's right.
So you could be the max leading scorer going into December and end up being the first guy off the bench at a Power 5 school going into the tournament.
Yeah. That's right.
Like, this is the problem. And I know we're supposed to give athletes all of the decision making, but the issue is you cannot give children adult power because they don't want to deal with the adult ramifications. Because if the door has got to be rotational. So if you can come and go at the semester, at some point in time, folks, we're going to be able to get rid of you at the semester too. And therein lies the problem. No kid, no parents want to sign on for that.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I over-recruited you. This
Okay.
place isn't good for you. You are still academically eligible, but you're never going to be a Power 5 person. Enjoy Christmas. You're out.
And let's be very, very clear. And I will go up to the line, but I will not cross it. There are coaches in the NCAA right now that are already behaving that way.
Yes.
Yep.
Use the Google. And this ain't just right now. This is, it's been done.
Right.
KST comes in. He doesn't like what he sees. Brings Huffy into the office. Like, hey man, check this out. You can stay, but you're not going to run ever again. You may want to do something else.
Yep.
I will tear KST's office a shreds.
You might, but you ain't never going to step on the track. So, and those kind of games are already being played,
Absolutely.
have been played for a long time by big and small people alike.
Yep.
Right. So that's why I'm not mad at the transfer issue. I am mad at the lack of foresight.
Right. The APR piece has to go away.
Yes. When you change one thing, you have to look at all of it. You can't just do this and then tell us that I'm still
But that
responsible.
was my point, right?
Hold on.
We keep trying. The NCAA, in order to try to stay alive, the NCAA is going to continue to give the kids more things that they want.
Right.
But you cannot give the top part of the nickel and not the bottom. Like
So
you can have immediate eligibility, but
Yes.
you also have to understand that scholarships are now semester to semester,
well, case in point, and this is
right?
something
Like that's the only way that that's fair.
and this is something that it's an unspoken truth that we live side by side with our colleagues over at football, and I'm not generalizing. This is what football is. Football, and I've had to have someone explain this to me. They want a tight end. They'll offer 10 tight ends,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Mhm.
They get their one, the other 9. Hey, I know what we said, that we were going to do this and do that, but it's not going to happen.
That's right.
Huh?
That's right.
And here we
Because
are.
all they have
in
to do is
track and
tell them,
field.
listen, you can come here, but you're never going to play.
Yes,
Nobody wants to force their hand.
exactly. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know that anyone in track operates that way, because let's just take men, for example. We have so few scholarships as it is.
Yeah.
God forbid we offered 25 people or we literally had 25 people commit, and then we're sitting there like, man, like, what are we going to do now?
No, in our world, you get fired for stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's my point, so you wonder why the things have gotten deregulated to this point. The biggest case that I've seen, I don't know if you've heard of Caden Proctor, the 5-star lineman from Iowa, goes and plays his first year under Nick Saban.
Oh yeah, I love this story.
This is amazing.
It's tremendous. He has secured many bags.
Transfers to Iowa, stays for a few months, gets an NIL collective to
'Cause he's
throw in
local.
100,000, gets in the portal
And goes
and
back.
goes back down.
And they can't get no money back because there's no
Oh
quid
my
pro quo
goodness.
to the collectives.
Oh man,
This is
The
just
things-
money we're throwing out there.
the things that are going on in this current sphere, it's just mind-boggling.
But now you
And-
see why I said what I said, right? Like
Yes.
whenever a rule comes out, you have to think about how nefarious actions are going to take place.
Yes.
Because that's what it's always about. The first thing that folks do is figure out what is the gray of said rule?
Exactly.
Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine the light bulb moment that particular kid had? He's like, "So you're telling me
Yep.
that I can come back?
Come back.
No harm, no foul. It's good."
Well,
Just gotta stay fit.
how
Just
about
gotta
this?
Stay fit.
Look, young lady leads Louisville to Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Leaves Louisville for the bag. Goes to LSU.
Yep.
Gets the bag. Realizes this is not it. She gets exposed, right? New bag. She will be a horn frog next year.
Is that official? She's made that decision.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Van Lith. Go ahead.
She is a horn frog.
All right.
And I'm like, listen, if you could go to college and you can get 3 different institutions to pay you NIL money, I guess I honestly am not mad at you. I just don't know, again, what does that look like as a pro, right? Because I keep saying, this goes back to the first year we were on the show. When Alan Johnson said, these kids are running for contracts, not careers.
Yep.
That's right.
Right? There's a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
She probably was a first-round draft pick in this year's draft had she stayed at Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So,
Now, but her NIL money in college is bigger than the money they can pay her in the WNBA.
That's right.
Right.
So I mean, like I said, I'm not mad at any of the kids legally doing what they can do to get themselves paid. Just not. But I know who I was. And if you take 18, 19-year-old me and put me in this legal climate, I might go to 4 different schools just to get a different taste. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I've always wanted to run in the SEC. Let me go see what that's like. Well, you know, I've heard Chicago's cool. Let me go see what that's like. If everybody's paying, right? It's crazy.
I mean, listen, I've always been a super duper loyal guy, and I transferred in the old era for a lot of all of the right reasons, right? But I'll just be honest. I was 3rd in the state of Indiana my senior year in high school. By the end of my freshman year, I was like 5th in the world.
Yeah.
I almost certainly would have transferred to another school immediately because there would have been so much more money involved.
Sure.
Right.
And
like that's the unfortunate reality of where we're at, right? Like loyalty is all great and all, but when you're 19 years old and there's $100,000 or whatever available at another school that also has a better team, you're just not going to not take that.
Yeah.
And I think, and it is old people. I think the old people need to let the loyalty thing go. Because here's the thing. I mean, every human looks at loyalty differently. I consider myself to be an overwhelmingly loyal person, but I'm not loyal across the board, right? I'm loyal to my friends. I'm loyal to my family. I'm loyal to my staff. I'm loyal to my kids, right? But I'm not loyal to brands or, you know, teams or cities. I grew up in the Bay Area. I don't just root for the Warriors, right? I don't care about the Oakland A's because I grew up in the Bay. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. It's never made sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And professional sports has only sold loyalty as a branding tool. There's never been loyalty in professional sports. And whether you realize it or not, NCAA sports now is as close to professional sports as you're ever going to get.
Yes.
Without calling it that. So
Yeah, for sure. Because
no loyalty.
the NIL and freedom to transfer has now brought in free agency.
That's right.
That's
and
absolutely
there ain't no loyalty. It's a mercenary shop is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, and like at the end of the day, at the pro sports level, there was loyalty until there was free agency. And then you just need to be look, Clyde's a perfect example of it. He's a fan of players.
Yes, players and coaches.
And I get it. I get it.
I saw this on YouTube the other day. It was really funny. I think most of us watched the Netflix documentary Last Chance U and their iterations, right? The football coach, they call him JB, the guy that did all the wild stuff out in Kansas and got himself fired, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has a podcast now, and there's a clip, and he went off the deep end at the end of it, but the beginning of it, he was so spot on. He
was. I saw this.
He was so spot on. He's like, this entire D1 situation, it's nothing but JUCO now. It's 18 months.
Yep.
It's renegades. It's mercenary. It's just the JUCO model with millions and millions of dollars. And he's right. He's 100% right about that.
Because here's what's going to become a spotted purple and pink unicorn. The kid that matriculates at one school for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That is going to be like, where'd you go to school? Cal. Where'd you graduate from? Cal. Did you transfer in the middle? No. Huh?
How would you do that?
Right? Because here's the thing. Even if you're a 5-star out of high school, right? And they give you the bag to go to, you know, the best school, whichever one it is, right? You still got to be the best one every year, or else somebody's going to suggest that we don't give you the bag again.
Right.
Right? Like, it's not even just like being loyal. Like, you got to not only be loyal, you got to be special for every year you're in college too.
The only thing that bothers me is a strong way to say this, but I can see this coming a mile away. Right now, the whole transfer, NIL, blah, 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 that it is the wild, wild west, and it's basically lawless, right? Well, when you have a lawless system, who ultimately rises to the top? The smart people.
Yeah.
Oh, the business entities that are now figuring out how to get their footing in this, and it looks like the kids are getting over and the kids are winning. Let's give it a minute.
Mm-hmm.
People like that whole Alabama situation. Oh, please believe they got a fix for that already.
Oh, it's already done.
Well,
Right? Yeah.
It's already done.
well,
Like,
think
not
of
having
it,
that.
think of it this way, because this could be a response to the legislation that once someone transfers to you, you are stuck with them either until they matriculate or they decide to leave.
Yeah.
See, that's the part that Clyde's talking about, right?
Exactly.
You cannot force me to keep somebody for 3 years, but
Right.
they can leave in 6 months.
Exactly.
Nah,
Not a thing.
ain't a relationship.
So those, I feel, and and I'm sure Clyde feels the same way, that what we're hearing about certain coaches, certain programs, and the way they're operating, when it's time to kindly, gently push you out.
Influence. Yes.
It seems like that's our only modus operandi to go on now. I mean, it's if if the kid's a cancer, if the kid's bringing your squad down, if clearly they aren't who they said they were, stuff like that, head coaches now have to make some really, really tough decisions and stick with it.
And the wilder the West gets,
Mm-hmm.
read more unruly behavior from people in my chair.
Mm-hmm.
It has to.
Yeah.
And that sucks,
Yeah.
but we all got to be playing the same sport here.
Yeah.
So,
And that's like here's the thing. I think I said this when all this stuff first went down. COVID's effect on college sports and the transfer portal's effect on college sports are equally large, and the fact that they coincided each other is that's an untenable situation for the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
And what these kids need to understand is this is the last year of COVID kids.
Mm-hmm.
that's right.
Right. And the rules are way different going forward.
Yep.
Because you're still gonna look, at the end of the day, we default back to 5 to make 4. Right? We're getting back to that. Where the vast majority of kids are gonna finish college at 22.
Yep.
And now all this gigantic glutton of grad transfers, we're not gonna have that.
That's
right.
true.
Because the thing is, you had a bunch of kids who grad transfer because they could take 5 years to get a degree.
Yes.
And still had a year left.
Still had a 6-year. Yep.
Right. Now you're talking about, in order to be a grad transfer, you have to graduate in 4 years.
Right.
Okay. Well, if you get to transfer twice and be eligible, you know how hard it is to graduate from a school when you transfer?
Exactly.
You know how hard it is to graduate from the third school when you transfer twice?
The unspoken truth right there. Like, your expectation that your credit hours that you built up over 2 years are going to have you eligible when you go to school C. And you're going to find out some really tough lessons, because that's not the case.
This is just too good. If you're a West Coast person, you will get this more. So I know you can't read this, but this right here is Kyle Ford football player transferred back to USC after leaving USC to go to UCLA. When asked about it, the quote is, "My fault, I was tripping."
Oh,
That is where we are, people.
wow.
That loyalty, all these things.
Oh, it's gone.
You left USC to go to
Because you were
UCLA.
tripping?
You went back. My bad, I was tripping. That's where it is. That's the game we're in right now.
I mean, I know I'm old. I know, but I still found it wild when Ry Benjamin transferred from UCLA to USC. In today's world, you should no longer find it wild that anybody transfers from anywhere. Like, listen, I mean, guys, tell me this. In the world that we went to college in, did anybody transfer from Harvard, Stanford, or Duke?
No.
Never.
No.
And there are people transferring from all of those schools as we speak.
Better yet, I mean, we could go down, we could probably put together a top 10 list of the most shocking transfers. Harvey Glantz.
Yeah, that one was, I mean, it wasn't a transfer, but the fact that
it was a transfer.
That was wild.
The man, okay, like this man was, oh, come on now.
That's like Reggie Bush. That's like Reggie Bush being on the staff at UCLA.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was that ridiculous. Yeah, I agree.
Those were the things that we held on to. Like, there's just no way anybody transferring from Texas to Texas A&M. What? Oh no, not happening. Or vice versa. Oh no.
Oh no. Listen, from a track perspective, you'd be hard pressed to find a more petty, and I enjoyed it. I'm a former Bruin. A more petty transfer than Ry Benjamin out of UCLA to USC.
Yeah, that was.
Understand. That's probably one of the reasons I ended up being a huge fan of Ry. He leaned into that. Oh my God, did he lean into it?
Yeah.
When they hosted the dual meet and USC smacked them, there's a photo. Carol Smith Gilbert was still at USC at the time. There's a photo in front of that big scoreboard at Drake Stadium. The whole USC team is sitting in front of the UCLA billboard or the video board, and Ry's in the front of them like this, right? And the song playing on the background was Diplomatic Immunity by Drake.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was
wow.
Hilarious.
Wow.
Like, he leaned all the way in with that. It was so good.
What's next, Huffy?
Whew, that was a big one.
Yes,
That was a big
absolutely.
one. I think it might be time to shut her down.
Okay.
I don't think we don't want to overload these kids on their bus rides on Friday.
Well, a lot of juicy stuff.
I do want to say again, listen, these 4 years have been amazing, and episode 1 of year 5 has been hot as always. We're gonna ride this thing till the wheels fall off, and wheels seem to be pretty good at this point.
That's right.
So with all that wonderment said, unless you guys got any parting shots, I think we're gonna give them the chew. Thanks for playing, everybody, this weekend. Be easy.
See you later.